Hey, what's up, my comic book people? It's your boy J-Rock. Today we're gonna be doing another X-Force review. We're gonna be taking a look at X-Force Assault on GRAYMALKIN. Now you would read this directly after X-Men Executioner Song. That's a storyline that took place back in 1993 that included X-Force, X-Men, X-Factor, other X-Men titles. So if you wanna follow what happened with the X-Force team directly after that, you will read this book. Okay, so we're gonna read a little bit about it, and once I'm done reading it back to you guys, and you guys read it with me, we're gonna talk about it a little bit. Sounds good to you guys? All right, let's get into it. All right, so what this hardcover includes is issues New Warriors 21 and X-Force 19 through 25. We're gonna cover all that except for the X-Force issue 25 because that's included in the Fatal Attractions storyline. So I'll include that issue when I get to reviewing that storyline. So we're just gonna do issues 19 through 24. This is written by Fabian Nicieza. The main artist is Gregg Capullo. We're gonna start off with the issue New Warriors 21. That is included in here because something happened with the Helians where most of them passed away, but two survived. And they're in this place called Nova Roma. So you have Cannonball and Warpath from the X-Force going to look for them, right? Along with Starfire from the New Warriors. They find these Helians, and it turns out one of these Helians is named Manuel. He was manipulating these people there, right? Into thinking they live in these Roman times. Starfire fights him. It was a pretty good fight scene. She takes care of him. And then he explains to her how he's not the bad guy. He's just doing bad things, but for a good cause. That there was this evil black witch, part of the Hellfire Club, named Selena. Now she destroyed these people's lives and wiped their memories. So he's saying they're wandering around in life with no aim, right? So what he wanted to do is give them these false memories, false jobs, and so forth, so they could have lives and wake up with a purpose. So he was only doing it for their own good. And once we get through with this, we have Starfire here. She looks through Nova Roma, the building, and she finds this old book of the White Queen, Emma Frost. And it has all the info on all the Helians, which have now mostly all passed away. She has the power of fire to shoot fireballs and stuff like that. So she burns this book. It's almost like it's a big, thick book, like a Bible. When she burns it, it's very symbolic. Like it's almost telling you, like, it's a new beginning for not only the Helians, but for herself. And to finish this off, she even gets a new costume. So it has a very much the vibe of like we're starting over, right? And this new costume is badass. I'm digging it. It's the 90s, so her old costume that was just a basic yellow costume with red gloves wasn't cutting it. You have to be more exciting. And this one she has is red and black right here, far better. And this also fits in not just back in the 90s, but this fits in today's times. Like if I don't know if she's still wearing this costume because I don't follow New Warriors, but if she's still rocking this costume, it fits in still. Like it doesn't look outdated to me. Now, in the previous story arc, being Executioner Song, Cable was believed to be dead. So now the leader of the X-Force is Cannonball because he's kind of like the oldest and he's the one that was kind of like Cable took under his wing and so forth. And they've been staying at the X-Mansion with Professor X and the X-Men. He wanted them there so he could kind of keep a close eye on them because the X-Force are a young team. They're a squad of pure like people in their late teens, early 20s. So he feels they're immature. They're not ready to go out on their own without a leader, right? Cannonball's letting him know. He goes, I think we're ready to take off. And Professor X tells him, I think it's not wise. Maybe you guys should stay. Cannonball tells him here, I'm not asking you if we could leave. I'm telling you we're leaving. And they get into this intense argument. It almost looked like shit was going to pop off between X-Force and X-Men. But cooler heads prevailed. And once they did, Professor X just lets Cannonball know, look, I just hope you make the right decisions in life. Like if you're leaving, think about the way you're gonna lead the team since they seem to look up to you. It almost felt like a father, like when his child is leaving off to college or something, moving out already, telling you, make the right decisions in life, basically. And that very much had that feel right here. And you had all the X-Force team. Once they leave, they're all getting new costumes. This is issue 19, so it's kind of like a reboot. And there's the finishing touches is getting the costumes. They got the new name from New Mutants to X-Force, new players on the team, and now you got the new costumes. And now they left the mansion and they're finally gonna be out on their own with a new leader and everything, right? So we're definitely still the same team going up, like, or restarting in life, right? And the first thing they decide to do is, you know what? Cable used to have this ship called GRAYMALKIN. And now that he's passed away, that probably has all kinds of info on him, old profiles and so forth. So they want to go to this ship that's out in space to find all this old information on him to reminisce about him. Kind of like finding an old photo album of your friends back in the day, right? Now it turns out at the same time they have that idea, so does the US government. Nick Fury and the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are like, you know what? Cable had that ship, GRAYMALKIN, has all kinds of advanced technology from the future. You know, we could use that, buddy. We could use that. So he's talking to War Machine and so forth, and they decide that's not a bad idea. Like, let's go get in on this action, right? Because War Machine works for Tony Stark's, and you know, they're all into technology and so forth themselves. So naturally, they both teams go up to the ship, and it leads to this big fight scene between the two. And War Machine looks badass right here. He got all these extra missiles and heavy duty armory in his suit. So the new warriors are kind of outgunned, right? They're like, man, this guy's too much. So one of these new warriors is named Lila. She has these powers. She's kind of like Dazzler, but she also has teleportation powers. So she leaves half the team back to Earth, while Cannonball and Sunspot, they stay in the ship. They find the files they wanted. Once they find these files, they're like, what do we do with the ship? He's like, we can't let S.H.I.E.L.D. keep it because the government is shady. They're not to be trusted with this technology. So he decides we're going to explode this ship. And then they leave also. It looks badass. It's just blown up. The issue ends there. And they fly out like on an escape pod back to Earth. The X-Force went out to space to the ship GRAYMALKIN. Warpath, Boom Boom, and Siren stayed back on Earth to take care of, hold on the fort, basically. While they were doing so, these X-Ternals showed up. This guy named Saul just shot them from behind while they were off guard. So they got taken out pretty quick, and he took them hostage. That issue ends when Sunspot and Cannonball and the rest of the team come back to Earth. They're like, where are the other three members, right? And they see this message that was left there, this hologram with this guy Saul from the X-Ternals saying, I got your friends here. We want Cannonball. That's why they really went there for it, because Cannonball is also an X-Ternal. So they want him. Say, we'll do like a trade. Give us Cannonball, we'll give you the other guys from the team. And the issue ends there, and they show this panel here. This is, I don't know what Greg Capullo was thinking here. Like, even for the 90s that were very extreme, this was still a little too much, especially for a Marvel book. Look at the last picture here at the end of the issue. Siren, his shirt is ripped off, her titties are popping out, and luckily her long hair is covering her nipple. Boom Boom's shirt is so torn, you see a bunch of underboob, right? And it almost felt like the colorist here saw this and said, oh, well, what's this guy doing? And her Boom Boom shirt is yellow, so it almost felt like he colored her under her boobs. He colored it yellow, almost so it could look like it's part of the shirt, like to try to cover up the penciler's mess or something, right? This was kind of crazy. I was like, wow, really? They did that right here? Obviously, once the next issue starts in the first panel, that's been fixed up, and their shirts are no longer torn, and their titties are no longer popping out all over the place. Now the X-Force are like, okay, we gotta go save our team members. And they decide they go with this plan where they just go balls to the walls. They're in this like tank type of vehicle. They just go meet up with the X-Ternals, right? They run right through the wall and just take out Saul and Gideon, who are X-Ternals. They run them over, take care of business pretty quick. They were building them up in the story arc where they were gonna be like a big threat and this and that. And the fight scene lasted one panel. They just got hit by a car, basically. So that was like, wow, what a lackluster fight battle or fight scene between them, right? I was like, all right, fuck it. Like, so they came off pretty unimpressive, to say the least. Now, while this was going on, we had this two side plots, and both of them will somehow connect to each other. One was Domino was getting the old six-pack back together. That was Cable's old team before the X-Force. So she picked up this guy named Grizzly and this guy named Hammer. Hammer was in a wheelchair, and it turned out he hates Cable, right? And Domino's like, don't worry, Cable's dead already. He's not gonna be part of this team. I just need you two. So they go with Domino, and the other side story was Copycat, aka Vanessa. She used to be Deadpool's old girlfriend. So at this point, she's living with this friend named Tina, and she's having this. She morphs into people, right? She's like a shapeshifter. She's having trouble with her shape-shifting power. She's changing in and out. She can't control it. She ends up changing into her friend Tina. It's like, at least you look like some type of regular human. So they go out on a night out of town. She's trying to get away from Cable. He used to be like an old abusive boyfriend, used to treat her really bad, beat on her and whatnot, right? So Deadpool and this guy named Slug will find them. And right when he shows, this guy Sluggo shows up, he shoots, he tries to shoot Vanessa, I guess, and he shoots this other girl, Tina. So Tina's dead. She's out of the picture. Rest in peace. She was just a regular human. Then they grab Copycat, and when they grab her, Domino and Grizzly and them show up, the six-pack, and they shoot these guys. Take care of business fairly quick, so these two stories kind of intertwine. Now, why do the six-pack want Vanessa? I have no idea. The ending of this volume is fire. Man, where the way this shit ends, you see all the broken pieces in space from the GRAYMALKIN ship. You see a hand putting all the pieces of metal together to build a new spaceship. And right away, you know, who could control metal? You see the purple glove, you're like, it's Magneto. So, you know, Magneto's back. At this time, he was believed to be dead. And then in the next panel, right where the issue ends, you see Cable pop up. So you know Cable's back, and he was also believed to be dead. So it was like, holy shit. It gave off this crazy vibe because you saw Cable come back in this last panel, and you see Magneto's helmet. Or in case the page before you, it wasn't clear to you that it's Magneto, we have the helmet. They're telling you it's Magneto that just came back. Then you have Cable right there on the page. That was crazy because it almost gives that vibe that like, oh, this big heavyweight match is gonna go down. You know, Cable versus Magneto, like you know, like Tyson versus Holyfield. So that ending was just crazy. It was crazy. I was like, holy shit, both of these guys are back, and it looks like they're on a crash course collision with each other, right? All right, so I'm gonna leave this right there. It also covers issue number 25. So I'm guessing that's the fight scene between the two. But we're gonna leave it at issue 24. We'll get to 25 when we read the Fatal Attraction stuff. But man, this shit ended on a real high note for me. It was awesome. For those of you that read this or right now that you watched through the whole video, what you guys think about this story arc? Man, I thought it had a lot of great moments. Let me get to my final thoughts here and what I thought about it. We had some great character moments where, like, we had Cyrene, for example. She's with the X-Force, and when they're in the X-Mansion, Professor X is talking to her about, like, why don't you come with X-Men? You know, roll with us. Why are you rolling with the X-Force? She's saying, you know, the X-Force, they're all still finding themselves. They're, like, rebooting, you know, and so forth. They've all don't have any, like, purpose in life. They don't have no direction yet. And she's talking about how she doesn't either. She has no direction in life, and she's still figuring things out. She doesn't want to roll with X-Men because they got all their shit together, right? Which is, if you follow X-Men, it's so much bullshit. They're all over the place too. But she thinks because they're a little older, they got their shit together. From the outside looking in, that's how it looks to her. And these X-Force are all younger in her age group, you know? So she feels she's better off with them because she's figuring things out, and so are they. And with the X-Men, she would feel more insecure, more like, you know, like she's like the weakling in the group that doesn't have her shit together, and they do. So she thought it'd be a better fit. And Xavier says, you know, fair enough. And he leaves it at that. We have Cannonball here molding up to be the leader of the team. So, like I said, the character moments here are nice. The first half of this book starts off slow pace, kind of what the characters are doing with their lives outside of being superheroes. So it very much had that feel of, like, you know, kids leaving the nest, maybe going out to college and so forth. You know, things we do in our early 20s when you're still trying to figure things out, what you're going to do with your life now that you're out of your teens and so forth. It had that type of vibe right here. And then we get to the action, the next half of the book. It puts the pedal to the metal and it never lets go. It goes like at 200 miles an hour, nonstop action scenes. They finish a mission, another action scene, and it just goes off the wall all the way to the end, where it leads us to an explosive ending that just leaves you wanting more. Like you gotta pick up that next volume, right? You had multiple storylines going on, and they're all intertwined and connected at the end. Very nicely done. Very nicely done by Fabian and Nicieza here. I felt the pacing was good. Every story with the things going on had a purpose. It was going somewhere, and we got there towards the end of this. So I love this volume. It was great. If this had any faults in it, any cons, if you will, it would have been, it lacked a strong villain. The externals were very lame. At no point did they feel like a threat to me. And when they were building them up, it felt like, hey, maybe they're gonna be big players going forward. And after this fight scene, I was like, oh man, like the writer just did them dirty. They got wiped out so quick. They like I blinked and I missed the whole fight scene, right? It was like a Tyson fight where there's this all this build up, all this hype back in the 80s before the fight. Oh, this is gonna be great. Then it ends in one round. He will just knock him out. That's the vibe I got here. You're just like, oh, the build up was so much better than the actual fight. That's what I got here with the villains. The fight with Shield was a lot better, and Shield came off as a threat because they always are. Everybody knows Shield is the most powerful team in the Marvel Universe, if you will. They could take out Avengers, they could take out X-Men, they could take out everybody because they represent humans, and humans are always the most dangerous thing around, right? Just like on planet Earth, we got lions, we got tigers, but at the end of the day, the human is the biggest threat. The art by Greg Capullo, it may not be for everybody. It's very of its time. But to me, I love 90s art. And even in today's day and age, I like it when I see just raw pencils with no inks, no colors. I like a lot of that 90s stuff over a lot of the other artists today, me personally. So yeah, that's about all I have to say about this. Those are all my opinions there. Let me know your comments in the comment section down below, your thoughts and so forth. And other than that, I'd just like to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to check out the video. Hopefully you hit the like button on your way out, and I'll check you guys out next time.